Normally, I'd want to say something like Dead Mount Deathplay is too good to be true, just given how solid this show has been now for 3 episodes. But the fact that the author that worked on Bakano and every time, Lord help me, Dorabara, it's understandable why a show like this is turning out so fantastic. It doesn't seem to be too good to be true. We are getting sauce, we are getting some spice. I mean, there's not many characters who are this powerful like this woman who seemingly has her own mini harem that gives her massages and a little more, if you know what I'm saying. We got brutal bloodshed, we got this comfy aura that really only this author has mastered in my opinion in terms of the almost chibi aesthetic that just goes with, like, honestly it feels bigger than a single character, which is why I love the author's works to begin with. But the fact that you literally have a corpse god who honestly just feels like someone who wants to help those that have been wronged, especially if they are children or the innocent, and we're in a situation where we're working with an organization that are generally hired to go hurt and kill people no matter what the person is. Like, seemingly Polka, who we get confirmation is still alive and kicking, just in a different way than he was expecting. Right now he's in a toy helicopter, but over time he'll probably get a more interesting body, whether a stuffed animal, another action figure, we don't know. But at the end of the day, I mean, he was seemingly a pretty normal kid who had a hit on his head. Why? We still don't know, but that's kind of the brilliance of Dead Mount Deathplay right now. Now, I do have full live reactions of this wonderful episode available on my Patreon if you do want to see my full uncut thoughts. I love this episode. After episode 2, it was pretty clear what type of show this wanted to be, and I think if you enjoyed episode 2, you're probably going to get a kick out of episode 3. It had bloodshed, it had some shocking moments. I mean, I don't know the last time I saw a group of criminals get tied into a knot and then compressed into a boulder. But Corpse God did that, right? Corpse God said that's what we're going to do. I think one of my favorite things that this show's going to do that I feel like is going to be a common occurrence is there's these moments, and initially when seemingly him and Misaki were getting hired for, well, she was trying to get hired for this mission, right? Obviously, it turns out to be a trap and a setup, but what ends up happening is he drops down and he looks like L from Death Note. He's just kind of curled up and he's like, we accept. I don't think anything of it in the moment. And over the course of the episode, very quickly after, we realize the reason he was basically kneeling down and talking downwards is because he was looking at the spirits of the babies that were wronged by this man. He was never accepting the job from the man, he was accepting the job from the babies. And I thought, you know, this is what I'm going to really enjoy about this show, is that often we will get to see what he sees as a corpse god necromancer. We'll see the spirits, and as we do see afterwards, we get to see what he was experiencing. But they won't show it to us always right away, so therefore, he might just feel socially awkward. That's my assumption. I was like, oh, he's just socially awkward. I mean, he doesn't understand how this world operates, so maybe he just feels a little different, right? He was a giant skeleton not too long ago, so it's understandable that maybe he curls up in weird positions. Nope, he was actually just bending over to talk to the spirits that had been wronged, and I really like that as a mechanic. This show wants to be bloody. This show wants to be provocative. I mean, there's multiple times in this episode characters are nude, in their underwear, they're flashing, and they're having fun, and characters are either getting embarrassed or they're getting ready for round 2. And honestly, I like the eye candy, I like the fan service, but man, the meat and potatoes of this show is what the hell is this world? And as they're trying to establish, this Earth is clearly linked up to his old world in some way. Maybe a parallel reality, maybe there's like a doorway that just, it works. It's almost like, hey, this is just your neighboring planet in a way. We don't know exactly, but there's a lot in terms of being similar. It's not just the fact that they have the same units or most of the characters all have 10 fingers, right? No, there's a lot more to it than that. And I think one of the most interesting lines that could easily be kind of a throwaway line, but I think given what they talk about later in the episode about how these worlds seem a lot more connected than what maybe they first realized, whales in his world, his first world, were nothing but a myth. So I'm interested if what we're doing is we're going the route of like his original world where he came from, right? The myths and the things that were just story tales that got told to people probably are based off of the world we're currently in, this normal looking Japan. And most likely, the vampires, the weird evil magic and all that this Japan is known for, it is pulled and it's basically some truths coming from the necromancer's world. And I think that's a really cool idea for world building where, you know, what's supposed to be fantasy and fiction is based on a reality that's not too far off from their own. And I really like what they're doing there. So we bring back a psychopath who wanted to die and honestly understood that she was a little weird. Now she is a zombie who has a bite that can make people pass out, and she loves it a little too much. She's going to be a wild and fun character, but man, I was kind of with Takumi. I was like, bro, are you sure you wanted to bring her back? Like, she seems a little weird. And honestly, I think out of every character I've seen so far, the one I'm most interested in and probably enjoy the most might actually be Takumi. Now, I was interested because he seemed more like the hacker of the group, the kind of guy who observed things and tried to figure out what's what with information. But I like the fact that he's cautious about this corpse god, because who wouldn't be if they're logical? And I'm always a fan of those characters that are kind of like straight and to the point, being like, bro, here's the logical reaction. I'm like, that's how I would react in this moment. So I connect with those guys a lot. I just like that type of character. But I also really appreciate that over the course of the episode, he kind of realizes that, honestly, given the circumstances, Misaki and myself, we probably look way more psycho and probably have more to feel bad about than him, and he recognizes it, right? But I really like the cast dynamic that we're getting here between a former psycho killer who just honestly was ready to give up on her own life because she recognized that, man, if I can kill an innocent boy Polka, then yeah, I probably shouldn't exist. But the fact that you can shoot her, you can stab her, you can do all these things, and she just feels like it's Christmas morning, she unwraps her favorite present that, man, I never got killed before. Man, I've never been shot in the back before. This is awesome. And I'm like, oh, this character's going to be a riot. We have a corpse god who actually feels like he wants to help those in need in terms of like the innocent, the kids. He views humans and the souls as toys, but toys aren't meant to just be played with in a way that you're expecting and like Takumi's expecting, but more so he wants to help those in need. And honestly, there's just a lot to like about this. It's saucy, it's violent. Those cops, man. I mean, the one dude who's like bowing down because he has to pay a ridiculous bar tab, he ends up kicking ass with just his head. Like, he's just like flicking his head around and knocking people out. You have a drunken guy who I thought was going to be nothing. He was copping a feel and deserved the almost head smash that he got. Turns out he's a lot more serious than we expected. And seriously, we have some sort of like stain from My Hero Academia bandaged up guy who's releasing the Kraken, and I don't know what he wants to do, but yeah, the show over 3 episodes has absolutely sold me. Normally I'd say it's too good to be true, but the author has proven with all of their work that they just know what they're doing, and this production has remained strong. There's good visual directing, like instead of hiring movers, use your skeletons. There's a lot of good visual gags, but honestly, man, the story and the world building is on point, and I feel like I have more mystery in 3 episodes than a lot of shows that aim to be a mystery can handle in 12 episodes, right? The show has a lot to offer, and I am loving my time with it. But thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell, of course, so you can get notified when I upload on the channel. And like I mentioned, we do have a full live reaction available on my Patreon. While you're there, you can also get a video shoutout. So today, we have Power9987, Ricardo Pelego, Rogueknight, and Anthox. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.